Remember that feeling? You know, when you first discovered something truly different, like way back when, I'm talking the 80s,
Uh-huh.
and you stumbled upon Tombstone Pizza in the frozen food aisle.
Homestone pizza.
Yeah,
Huh.
just that square box, it was a game changer. Exciting, new, and it solved a real problem, wanting a delicious pizza, but easy. That right there, that was the purple cow effect, even if we didn't have a name for it back then.
What's fascinating is that Tombstone, they were onto something. It wasn't just about being different. They tapped into how we make choices, and that's only become more important since then.
Oh, absolutely. Seeing something stand out on the shelf back then, that was almost enough. Now, open that same freezer aisle, it's overwhelming. Gluten-free, cauliflower crust, organic, vegan just for pizza.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Imagine trying to grab a shopper's attention now, amidst all that noise.
And that's the heart of it, the challenge Seth Godin tackles in Purple Cow. Transform your business by being remarkable. The old way, build it by tons of ads, it just doesn't work in a world drowning in choices.
It's like those full-page ads, like in the Wall Street Journal. Remember those? Can you even remember a single one?
They all blur together.
Exactly. Consumers, they're savvy now. They tune out anything that feels generic, like background noise.
Being good, it's not even on the radar anymore. You have to be remarkable to even get noticed. So that's what we're digging into today.
Love it.
How to make your thing, product, service, even your personal brand, how to make it stand out. We're talking becoming that purple cow. Something noteworthy, something people can't help but talk about.
Okay, so break that down for us. What does that actually mean? Give us an example who's mastered this whole purple cow thing.
Starbucks, they're a classic example. Took something ordinary. I mean, it's coffee, right? But they made it an experience.
Yeah, you're not just buying a cup of coffee there, that's for sure.
Right, you're buying into the vibe, a community, that third place between work and home.
It's worlds away from, like, Maxwell House. They're still stuck on good to the last drop, same product, totally different approach.
Exactly, and that's what's interesting. Remarkable doesn't have to mean expensive or luxury. Take Motel 6. They knew they weren't the Ritz-Carlton.
Clean, cheap, and people loved it.
They own their niche.
You knew what you were getting. And for a lot of people, it was perfect.
And that's key. Understanding your target audience deeply, giving them something so uniquely suited to them.
They have to tell their friends.
They become your advocates, not just satisfied, but truly.
Sneezers, that's
Yeah.
what Godin calls them. Your early adopters who spread the word like wildfire.
Love that. Sneezers.
Think about it. When you discover a great restaurant, a new gadget, you got to tell everyone you were being a sneezer.
It's the best kind of marketing, truly. Organic, genuine. When you create something remarkable, your audience, they do the work for you.
Which brings up a point, something a lot of businesses struggle with: fear.
Oh, absolutely. Fear is a huge factor.
Fear of criticism, of standing out, maybe even turning some people off. So they play it safe. Product after product, it's fine.
But forgettable.
Exactly. Totally forgettable.
And ironically, that is the riskiest move in today's world.
So playing it safe is actually the risky move. That's kind of wild when you think about it.
It is. It's counterintuitive, right? But it's true. In a world overflowing with choices, blending in, that's a recipe for disaster.
Makes sense.
The companies that hit it big, the ones everyone's talking about, they embrace what makes them different, those rough edges. They get that not everyone's going to love them, and they're good with that.
They're looking for those super fans, right?
Exactly. Godin calls them the otaku, those passionate devotees. And he uses this example. It's kind of funny. He talks about a lunchbox.
Lunchbox. Okay, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So in Japan, they have these train stations, but they're elaborately designed works of art almost. And people were crazy about bento boxes, lunch boxes shaped like them.
So niche. But I kind of get it.
Right. Seems niche, maybe even a little strange, but it proves something. Even the most unexpected thing can be remarkable if, and this is key, if it truly resonates with the right people.
Find your people. The ones who really, really get your thing. Like, say you like spicy food. That's fine. Lots of people do. But are you out there hunting down the absolute hottest hot sauce on the planet?
There you go. Those are your otaku.
Love it. So, okay, we get the purple cow, but how do we actually use this? What can businesses do?
Let me give you an example. Dutch boy paint. They didn't reinvent paint itself, did they?
No, they redesigned the can.
Exactly.
That whole upside down thing, easy pour, game changer. Seriously, For someone who's a little messy with DIY projects, it's brilliant.
See, that's what I'm talking about. They saw a problem, a small one maybe, but a real one for their customers.
Yeah.
And they solved it.
Not a flashy marketing campaign.
Nope. Thoughtful design.
Those little details, they make all the difference. Speaking of which, remember when Haagen Dazs printed the owner's phone number right there on the carton?
Talk about making a connection. That's memorable.
You bet it is. Customers remember that. They tell their friends. Instant Purple Cow promoters.
It's the opposite of how most businesses think.
Right. Like, don't be different. Don't get too personal. But this,
It works. But, and this is important, it's not enough to just be different. You got to be willing to adapt.
things change. You got to change with them.
Exactly. The world of business, it's constantly shifting. You can't just create your purple cow and assume you're done.
So it's not a one-time thing. It's got to be built in.
Yes, you need to know what's working. Be open to feedback, to changing things up. It's about creating an environment where purple cows can thrive.
Okay, so always be evolving. I like it. So where does this leave us? What's the final thought you're going to leave our listeners with today?
All right, well, Godin, he uses this interesting example in his book. He talks about salt.
Salt. Okay, no, that's a curveball. I wasn't expecting that.
Right. It's like the definition of basic, right? Just salt. But then he talks about this whole world of like artisanal sea salt, flavored salts, smoked salts. Suddenly, something so ordinary.
Comes interest.
Exactly. And you know what? I bet most of us, we've got a fancy sea salt sitting in our pantries right now.
Probably. I know I do. It's so simple, but it changes everything.
There you go. So the question for everyone listening, think about your industry, your work. What seems mundane? What does everyone take for granted? What could you, with a little imagination, a little daring?
Give it the purple cow treatment.
Yes. What could
Yeah.
you elevate, reimagine, and make truly remarkable?
I love that. It's not always about inventing something totally new, is it? It's about looking at what's familiar.
With fresh eyes.
Exactly. Finding that potential, that spark, and being brave enough to really make it stand out.
And remember, being remarkable, it's not a one-time thing, it's ongoing. Building a culture of innovation, testing, experimenting, never being afraid to embrace those ideas, even the quirky ones, the ones that make you different.
So to everyone listening, find your purple cow. Maybe it's a product redesign like that Dutch Boy paint can. Or a totally unexpected service like that Haagen Dazs personal touch. Or maybe it is something as basic as salt. Whatever it is, make it noteworthy. Make it something people can't help but talk about.